Yo, Joe! What's up, action figure fans? Today we're diving into a legend, one of the most iconic G.I. Joe figures of the 90s, the Hall of Fame Snake Eyes from 1991. This was Hasbro's first 12-inch G.I. Joe figure since the Hurrah, a real American hero line, took over in the 80s. And man, did it leave an impact. Let's check him out. So let's get started. First off, let's talk about the classic packaging. This was part of the Hall of Fame series, which brought back the 12-inch scale, but gave it a modernized Hurrah style twist. Now the front of the box has Snake Eyes art right here. Look, Snake Eyes right here, and it says Snake Eyes with a bunch of little art from the G.I. Joe, right? And this has a big window here that says electronic light and sound battle weapon. The little Uzi style gun he's got. You can see his katana there, the stand, and then you see him here in his, I would say probably commando look, combat look. And here it says Hall of Fame G.I. Joe, a real American hero, special numbered collector's edition. The classic 12-inch tall, fully posable G.I. Joe, realistic battle dress uniform, official dog tags, electronic light and sound weapon. We'll see if it works still. G.I. Joe combat manual and gear. And again, it's got the old Hasbro logo here, and it says here, Collector's G.I. Joe Edition. It's got the top of the box here. We get to see this side of the box. It's showing Snake Eyes with the Uzi or the electronic weapon. I call it an Uzi because it looks like an Uzi. And here's this side, and here is the underside of the box, right? And then let's take a look at the back, right? Here we have the back of the packaging. Here we have, right, it's got some of the different Hall of Fame figures, Duke, Cobra Commander, Stalker, and here is Snake Eyes, right? Here is the file card on Snake Eyes. You're welcome to pause it if you want to read up on it. Here it is right here. And it's got some brief information here on G.I. Joe, right? Just very brief. And it's got a little button here. It says push button to activate electronic battle. I'm pushing it and nothing is happening. Well, let's go ahead and pop him open and we'll have to take a look at him here. Okay, here is the operations manual. The G.I. Joe Operations Manual. It says Department of Defense Command Manual. And it's got the battle positions and rank. You're welcome to pause this if you want to check it out even further. Right here, warrant officer personnel. And then how to change the uniform. You can check that out right there. How to stand him. How to put on the accessories on him. And then the weapons. And just some of the different information here. The Pledge of Allegiance, that's pretty cool in the back here. This is the actual stand, right? I've got a couple of these for some of the other G.I. Joes that I have. Here we have his gauntlets, right? Go on his arms, a little, I call them gauntlets right there. You can see the writing on them, the script on them. Here is a holster for the knife, or the little dagger that he has, a knife. Goes on his leg. Here is the actual knife. Here it is. You can see the detail on it. It's got little notches on it. And here it is, G.I. Joe. It's got a knuckle guard here. And here is the machine gun, the Uzi. And here it is, right? I push the button. It doesn't work anymore, and there's no way to change out the battery. It's right there. And here is the katana, the sword. You can see there's the logo right there for Snake Eyes. Right there. That's what it looks like. And then it's just a standard molded blade. And let's go ahead and check out the figure here. Now, this figure here, to me, is a lot chunkier or bulkier than the actual than the actual old GI Joes, or even compared to some of the more modern GI Joes of today. This was like super chunky, super bulky, not as articulated. But let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt. Here's the mask, and this mask is removable. There is Snake Eyes right there. Right, it's got a scar right there. And let's take a look at this mask. It's a cool mask. It's not clear or anything, but this is it right here. Let's put him down here. He's got his Snake Eyes dog tags. Here it says G.I. Joe. In the back, it's got some other information. Snake Eyes right there. And he's got a little vest with G.I. Joe. It says Snake Eyes. Pockets, Velcroed, or no, they actually have snaps. Little snaps here, on here, and here. There's the back. It's got a backpack. It's empty. Here it is right there. He's got it on. You can see the hands are a little discolored already. And unless he's that supposed to be, there is no wrist articulation. It's a little softer molded. You can hear the pops as you try and straighten out the arms. It does have articulation this way and that ways, but this is as far as that elbow bends right there. Right there. Straighten it out. This is waist, but it's here. There is no waist articulation. He's bending down here at where the joints are for the legs. And neck articulation. It doesn't have an up down, but it has side to side all the way around. The legs go up, and no articulation this way. He's got those little itty bitty rubbery feet. You can hear the clicks on the knees, and he can do this, split this way and split that ways. But let's put the mask back on him. Here is Snake Eyes. I can barely see his eyes in there. I think it's a little see-through-ish, but a little transparency. But there is the actual figure. Just to get a better idea of the big bulky body that these figures had, I have two different ones here that show the actual body style. Right, this one has a more classic face sculpt. But we get to see the articulation on these figures, and you can see how big and bulky they are, the arms and such, and the feet on these figures compared to the more classic or even modern figures is almost like a Barbie, like a Ken type foot. See that? Real floppy, small foot as well. But this is the body style of this. It's a rubbery type material. It clicks every time you do the articulation, but this is it. This is the body style for this particular figure. The Snake Eyes paved the way for Hasbro's 12-inch Hall of Fame line, which included other Joes like Duke, Cobra Commander, Stalker, Storm Shadow. And it is also one of the first Joes to have an electronic voice chip in it, in that Uzi, that little machine gun. Also, the one thing that I don't like about these figures, of course, is the big bulky. I mean, the costuming and the uniform is kind of cool, but the big old hands, that was the deal with these figures, big bulky. And just take a look at the proportions of the size of the weapons. It's just ridiculous. It was almost cartoony that they made these, big old knives and swords, and just take a look at the size of that weapon, and take a look at the size of that blade on that right there. It's just huge. Here I have Snake Eyes posed with other figures. I have a original vintage 64 G.I. Joe. I have an Adventure Team G.I. Joe. Of course, here's the Snake Eyes. Classic Collection G.I. Joe and Timeless Collection G.I. Joe here. Just to kind of scale him out and to see how he scales. You can see how he's really just, his hands are even bigger than the Classic Collection G.I. Joe here. But it's just amazing to me how big and bulky this body was. And it was very difficult to pose and very limited articulation, even though it did have some articulation, but not much. There he is. Even though 12-inch Joes aren't the standard today, this figure helped bring back large-scale G.I. Joe collecting, setting the stage for later sideshow and hot toy releases. Now, if you had this as a kid, you know, it was probably the centerpiece of your collection. Now, here he is right here. I have him standing right next to one of the more modern Snake Eyes figures. This one is from the Snake Eyes movie. I think I did a review on him, and not too fond of these figures, but here he is right here. You can kind of check out how he's evolved as a figure compared to this right here. You know, this figure right here. You can see the differences in the face sculpts here, and there he is. Even the whole dress and the uniform that he's wearing is a lot different, right, compared to him. So here he is, the more modern Snake Eyes from the Snake Eyes movie, next to Hall of Fame G.I. Joe Snake Eyes. So, what do you think? Do you own the 1991 Hall of Fame Snake Eyes? Or was there another figure that stole the show for you? Drop a comment below and let's talk classic Hall of Fame G.I. Joes. Also, if you love G.I. Joe action figures, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future reviews. So let's add to the action with Action Joe Figs.